So let's listen to a little bit of Noam Chomsky on 9/11.
Completely disagrees on this and has all kind of elaborate conspiracy theories and about how it happened and why it happened and so on. But I think they're just, first of all, I think it's completely wrong, but also I think it's diverting people away from serious issues. I mean, it just doesn't mean, even if we're true, which is extremely unlikely, who cares? I mean, it doesn't have any significance.
Who cares? That's what he's saying. Oh, 3,000 people might have been killed by our own government? Who cares? It has no significance. Really? Who cares? People get killed all the time. People get killed all the time. Who cares? I care. Okay? No, that's horrible. People get killed all the time. Why do you have such disdain for human life? That matters. People died, and then listen.
But it's a little bit like the huge energy that's put out on trying to figure out who killed John F. Kennedy. I mean, who knows? And who cares?
Who cares? Who killed JFK? Might have been our own government. Well, who cares? What do you mean, who cares? If that fucking happened, do you realize the implications?
I mean, plenty of people get killed all the time. Why does it matter that one of them had to be John F. Kennedy? If there was some reason to believe that there was a high-level conspiracy, it might be interesting. But the evidence against that is just overwhelming.
Who cares? I mean, John F. Kennedy got killed. People get killed all the time. He's just another guy. Who cares? What do you mean, who cares? That's crazy. Now, this is MIT. The Defense Department does a lot of business with MIT, especially during World War II and the Cold War, so I don't think it would be any different today. It's a private research university. It's private. Where's that money coming from? I don't know, no. I mean, I like you and all, but who cares? Who cares? Let's listen to it again, because that actually happened.
Conspiracy theories and about how it happened and why it happened and so on. But I think they're just, first of all, I think it's completely wrong, but also I think it's diverting people away from serious issues. I mean, it just doesn't mean, even if we're true, which is extremely unlikely, who cares?
Even if it's true, even if our own government took down the 9/11 towers, who cares? That's what he's saying. Who cares if it's true? No big deal. Who cares?
Doesn't have any significance. But
it doesn't have any significance? If our own government, they've done this before, right? What was it, Operation Mongoose or some operation where we were going to invade Miami? It was under JFK. It was declassified, but we were going to drop a bomb on Miami, blame it on the Cubans, and that would give us a pretense to go into Cuba. So it's been thought of before. False flags have been thought of quite frequently. Who cares? Who cares? There's no significance to it whatsoever. I care, and why don't you care? I thought this is supposed to be the premier, the Godfather, the Godfather of liberal thought, sitting there saying, human life, who cares? If JFK was killed by the government, that's something that we, the people, should know about. Why the fuck did our own government kill the president? Why did they do that? We should know that. The significance of that is there's a powerful influence. There's something inside the government that is destroying the people, the ones that are being elected. So that's the significance. Also, if it's that bold and it's that on its face, I mean, my God, that's like, what do you mean? What's the significance? And then to say, who cares? People get killed all the time. Who cares? 3,000 people died on 9/11. Who cares? That's not good. No, that's off, okay? So I know you wrote a bunch of books and a bunch of shit and stuff, and, you thought about it for a minute, and now you're against it. But there's some significant questions, and another 9/11 commission is due. What can we lose with more information? We can't lose nothing with more information. JFK teaches us the Warren Commission was fucking wrong. His head went back into the left. And so then how come we're saying it's just a single shooter? So one Warren Commission didn't solve the thing with JFK. We should have had another Warren Commission. What's wrong with more information? Later on, he's going to say something about nanothermite. I'm not for sure about nanothermite. I'm not sure what that even means. And he was like, you don't either. And Building 7 fell down. I don't know what that means, and neither do you. And he'll, he could be right. It could be, a big distraction, a bunch of bullshit. But him saying that, who cares? Who cares? A bunch of people died. JFK got shot. Who cares? People die all the time. So that's horrible. That's very callous, and, he's just basically like, human life. Who cares? It's important if our own government is killing us. That is very important. How is that not important? I don't even know. I guess I can't articulate. It just seems so obvious on its face. Of course it's important. Of course we should know if our own government is attacking us in order to go to war. We should know that if our own government took out a president in order to do what? To continue the war machine, to make sure the EPA stands up. What the hell was the point? Why did JFK have to go down? Who was that second gunman in the grassy knoll? There was somebody right there. So a second 9/11 commission isn't a bad idea. I have a lot of questions. I haven't been convinced, and most Americans couldn't name any of the 9/11 hijackers. There was one Egyptian, Lebanese, United Arab Emirate, and a bunch of Saudis. So, this is, I don't know. I think that Noam Chomsky, him being dismissive of this, that was kind of a shock to me. Because it was like, what? He once said to me, he once wrote, and I read, and so it felt like he was talking to me, that if you saved one human life, I mean, how many people have never saved any human life? So if you could save one life, be an anti-war activist, then that's incredible. Saving one life is more than what most people do their entire lives. So that's a nice sentiment. And then he also said that his father said something at his deathbed about always loving and caring about humanity. That's what was satisfying in life, was fighting and caring about all humanity. So that's good too. Right? Fighting, caring about humanity, fighting to save people's lives. So when he's dismissive of human life, that's a little upsetting for me. I think I've come into my own. 2016 was 1968, and I lost all my heroes. But maybe that was the point. By having heroes, I was able to say, okay, that person is speaking for me, and since that person is out there, I don't need to speak for myself. Well, I don't see anybody that speaks for me, so perhaps only I could speak for me, and so it's just said, okay, hey, why don't you just be your delightful, splendid, brilliant self. I respect Chomsky very much, put him on a pedestal, but I don't worship him, not like I used to. It's not like he can do no wrong. Now, with this 9/11 question, someone's going to ask him about Building 7. He does show the path that if a person does have some factual information, how the United States educational sort of apparatus, how they, this is the proper way of how to do it. So,
of the media covering up things, then not presenting Building 7, that third building. We've all seen the other towers fall, but what about Building 7, though?
Well, in fact, you're right that there's a consensus among a minuscule number of architects and engineers, tiny number, a couple of them are perfectly serious. They are not doing what scientists and engineers do when they think they've discovered something. What you do, when you think you've discovered something, what you do is write articles in scientific journals, give talks at the professional societies, go to the civil engineering department at MIT or Florida or wherever you are and present your results, and then proceed to try to convince the national academies, the professional society of physicists and civil engineers, the departments in the major universities, convince them that you've discovered something. Now, there happen to be a lot of people around who spent an hour on the internet and think they know a lot of. What you do is write articles in scientific journals, give talks at the professional societies, go to the civil engineering department at MIT or Florida or wherever you are, and present your results, and then proceed to try to convince the national academies, the Professional Society of Physicists and Civil Engineers, the departments in the major universities, convince them that you've discovered something.
So that's the pathway. So even if, let's give him benefit of the doubt. Noam knows everything. He was, there during the planning, so he knows that it was definitely as the government who lied to us about WMDs, right? So they lied to us, about 1,000 times over and over again. They kept lying over and over again. So we can believe that the Bush administration had lied to us about WMDs, but 9/11, no. How dare you say that they lied about 9/11? Why would you believe them on that? So, and then they made, before the first 9/11 commission, it took 300 days. They didn't answer any questions under oath. They had a conversation, right? Cheney and the president. Cheney did give the stand down order. So they said, is it still a go? They knew that there was an attack coming, but there was a stand down order. That's important to know. And I'd say most Americans don't know about that. So I hate this, when anybody asks this question, first, the guy that's asking the question, he's kind of being bullied, and the moderator's trying to shut him up, and then the crowd is all supportive of Noam's sort of snarkiness. Not really his evidence, but his snarkiness, right? Oh, you're just stupid, right? I think that's just intellectually dishonest. Just be like, you're stupid. There's legitimate questions. If you're an expert, then you can explain this stuff. But if you're not an expert, like I've read the Popular Science article. So, yeah, there's scientific explanations that say that all the questions, are answered. There's some questions that aren't answered. How come the CCTV, the Pentagon, the most fortified, the heart of America's military-industrial complex didn't even have a simple security camera. I know neighbors that have security cameras, in their house. Yet the Pentagon had no security cameras whatsoever. Not the businesses across the street. Nobody has any footage whatsoever of this plane crashing into the side of the Pentagon. A lot of coincidences with the insurance money. Some coincidences with the part of the Pentagon that was, crashed into. Billions was lost the day before, and then that's the part that gets slammed into it. And then Dick Cheney took over. Dick Cheney had the stand down order. So these are important things to understand. And it's not insignificant. No, let's listen to it one more time just because it's shocking. It's shocking. Who cares? Who cares who killed JFK? Who cares if the government is involved in killing its own citizens? I care. That's huge. That's big. And perhaps that would be the thing that people would say, enough is enough. We got to take our government back. If they're killing us, they can't be trusted. We got to take our government back. So that's pretty substantial. It's substantial.
Say that, I'm pretty isolated on this.
He's going to say it's going to be insignificant.
I mean, a large part of the left completely disagrees on this and has all kind of elaborate conspiracy theories and about how it happened and why it happened and so on. But I think
he once said that conspiracy theory is supposed to be a big F you, fuck you, right? That's an intellectual way to say fuck you to a person. Now he's saying it to anybody who questions the official line on 9/11. We've been lied to with JFK. They've
just, first of all, I think it's completely wrong, but also I think it's diverting people away from serious issues. I mean, it just doesn't mean, even if we're true, which is extremely unlikely, who cares?
Even if it was true, who cares? Even if the Bush administration set 9/11 up, killed 3,000 of our own citizens by flying planes into them, 4 planes, one in Pennsylvania, one in the Pentagon, who cares? Who cares? What do you mean, who cares? That is so fucking elaborate. It's not who cares. Holy shit.
And it doesn't have any significance.
It don't have any significance. Of course it's got some fucking significance. That's the reason why people are concerned about it. So, I mean, he's got some good explanations. He's saying that if there was a setup, then why blame it on the Saudis instead of the Iraqis? If you really wanted to go to into Iraq, if you wanted the Iraq war, then why wouldn't you say the Iraqis did it? If the Iraqis did it, then they would have open season on Iraq. That's a good point. That's one piece of evidence. That's one argument. But this is a bad argument right here. Who cares? There's no significance if our own government is killing their own people. That is significant, and it's bullshit.
But it's a little bit like the huge energy that's put out on trying to figure out who killed John F. Kennedy.
Who did kill him?
Who knows?
You don't?
Who cares?
Who cares?
Plenty of people get killed all the time. Why does it matter that one of them had to be John F. Kennedy?
Plenty of people get killed all the time. Who cares if it was the leader of the free world? I care if anybody gets killed. If it's a homeless person in an alley, why did they get killed? They didn't deserve to die. Somebody took their life. That's murder, and that's one of the most, my God, it's the worst crime. That takes everything from a person. That's everything that they are and never will be. You've taken everything away from them. So, I like Noam. Noam's pretty smart. I got a lot of his books. I got 9/11. I got the Chomsky Reader. The indispensable Chomsky. But he's wrong. He's wrong about, who cares? People get killed all the time. Who cares? You should care. And it is significant, if it was true. That's what he said. If it was true, who cares? What's it significant? If it is true, it's very significant. And you should care, Noam. You should care.